Send it.
Are we live?
Go.
Oh, shoot. On today's DNVR Buffs Live, we are catching up with our guy, Uncle Neely, a.k.a. the pregame show. Our boldest takes ahead of the season. Zay Weaver with an inside track to make the Cardinals roster and much more. Buff Nation!
We are live.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Oh, coming to you live
there
from
he
the
is.
Toyota Lounge, driven by your front range Toyota store, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It is the DNVR pregame show. Uncle Neely, what is up, my man? Welcome back.
I don't even know what it feels like to say welcome back because I really never leave. But I loved that dramatic pause, Jake, when you didn't know we were live. That was I love it.
To be fair, I'm going to defend my guy. Normally, I like to pile on, but I'm in a generous mood today. I'm going to defend my guy. Different producer today, Yaya. We love Yaya. But he kind of gave a non-verbal cue that Jake wasn't looking at. So then I saw it, and I looked over at him. I was like, okay, go ahead. But he didn't hear it or see it. So fair. All's fair. All is fair.
That was great. That was great.
Thank you, Uncle. I appreciate your support, my man. As always. What's up, though?
Jake, I always got your back, man. Like,
Of course. What's up? What's going on in Boulder right now?
Hey, man, it's all good. A little wet out there, a little rain passing through. Had the big kickoff for football season, luncheon today, so no practice took place today. Got practice through this weekend, just getting ready, going into North Dakota State on Thursday night. It's less than a week away now.
Well, first of all, we should start getting used to working with each other on Fridays. This is a nice little, this is like our preseason game.
Yep.
This is scrimmage.
Exactly. This is scrimmage for us. Speaking of scrimmages and practices and, early in camp, we were kind of getting from you, felt like almost every day, players of the day, who's standing out, how things are going. It's probably been a little over a week now since we were able to get that. So just in general, the last week or so, who has stood out to you? Who's looking really good? Maybe who's coming on strong at the end of camp?
The linebacker room. I love the way Jeremiah is developing. I love the way that Tajay is coming off the edge and developing. The defense, you got some certain characters of the defense that are just looking stronger and stronger. But as a unit, man, I tell you what, I really impressed with. I love the running back room. I love the running game and how it's been developed in the last 3 to 5 practices. So I think this team is coming together at the right time. We got less than a week to go, and we got some practices leading up to that. Of course, with a walkthrough the night before it. But I think this team is ready, man. They can't wait for next Thursday. I think every facet of this team is clicking at its highest point right now.
Man, Ed Reed was there yesterday. He gave a great speech that we heard to the team. But it feels like, just in general, again, this is something we've been talking about all offseason. Just the vibe going into this does feel a lot different than it did last year going into TCU. It just sounds like the team is more prepared for what's going to come, this season, the outside noise, just all the stuff that's going to happen. But everyone seems super locked in right now.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, Jake. Last year you were still dealing with, a mixture of mentalities. You had players on the team that really hadn't been around Coach Prime a lot. You had players that he coached for a while, and whether it's all the way back to the Truth League through Jackson State, and that culture was trying to grow and spread. Well, now the majority of the team has either been around him for a season or more, or even the new guys are coming for programs, that have similar standards and expectations, and they weren't just, on that team. They were contributors to that team. So you just have a different mentality, throughout the building going into this week one. And these guys just know it's 1 week at a time, 1-0 each week, not looking past North Dakota State, but want to go out here and make a statement.
I already know you're going to try to stay on the fence when I say this, so I'm precursoring it by saying you can't. Whose speech did you like better, Ray Lewis or Ed Reed?
You're exactly right. I'm not going to give you a straight up like better because they were two different speeches, and I'm going to tell you why. Ray Lewis's speech was bigger, was a lot of it was just bigger than football. He talked about what he went through with his son and making decisions that impact you on and off the field. and work ethic kind of things, you have to just understand Ray Lewis is the man when it comes to speeches. But when it comes to like those X's and O's and expectations and getting up there and doing a coach talk, I mean, Ed Reed was challenging somebody for looking like they were dozing off in the meeting. He gave a straight up like football talk. Some of that, a lot of it did translate to life as well, but they were two different categories to me. You could tell that the Rays was this passionate, coming from this place of I'm giving y'all some personal testimony that I literally haven't told anybody before in a public setting. And Ed's was like, hey, man, I know you're a coach. I know the D. Lou that's in this room. I know the other coaches' room. I know their expectations. You guys got to get it. You are sitting in the perfect storm of opportunity. No room looks like this in America as far as the talent at the coaching level. Trust your coaches, do your job.
Well, I'm looking forward to filling your name in on my ballot with that political ass response.
Hey, sometimes politics is the truth. Good policy is good politics, and the truth is always good policy.
All right, Jake, your choice. If you don't pick a side, I'm leaving this show right now.
Ed Reed.
All right, there you go. Good answer. I think Ed Reed's. I like 3 minutes into Ed Reed's, I was like, oh, I think I like Ray Lewis is better. Then like 8 minutes into Ed Reed's, I was like, oh, I think I like Ed Reed's better. But I think I was just in more of like a emotional mood when Ray Lewis was speaking, and like that one like hit me. That almost brought tears to my eyes. So I think I go Ray Lewis.
Exactly. That one was like a more like, kind of explaining the desire behind football type of thing, the emotions behind it. Whereas Ed Reed, it was very like analytical almost, like talking about tendencies, talking about a lot of that stuff. And I thought that was fascinating too, especially when Coach Prime got up. He's talking about that pick he had when he was playing for Washington, and how he read the alignment of the receiver. Like, I love that stuff.
Also, I think it was Bucky who spliced that into the video.
Yes.
That was great. Okay. What was the other thing I wanted to ask? Oh, last time we spoke with you, last few times we spoke with you, it was if the game was tomorrow, Charlie Offerdahl would be the starting running back. What about today?
Yeah, well, the game is, it's not tomorrow, but it's less than a week away. And I still say that Charlie is RB1 for that game. But stop the presses. There are going to be backs that get just as many, if not more, carries than he does. Because they're still doing this running back by committee thing based on down and distance, based on situations. And so, I'm sure that Charlie Offerdahl is RB1 coming out that tunnel behind Ralphie. But you're going to have other backs who are going to get a significant portion of carries that game as well.
And this is just so interesting to me because Unk's at practice every day. When we talk about this, we're just echoing what we're hearing from him. Mm-hmm. Also, what we saw at the scrimmage, and yet every time that this topic comes up, everyone loses their mind. Like we're trying to push some sort of agenda.
I know it doesn't make sense to me. We're literally just reporting what's happening in practice. And as Unk said, even if Charlie takes the first snap, first carry of the game, even we are going to see Micah, we are going to see Dallin, we're going to see Isaiah, and it wouldn't surprise me if one of those three out carries or out touches Charlie with the football in the first week of the game or first week of the season.
But it'll happen in this comment section too. Maybe not live, but in the follow-up comment, it'll be like, you guys are insane. The other players are so much more talented. And it's like, this isn't us giving our opinion of which guy we think is going to have the best career.
Right.
It's Unk telling us if the game's tomorrow, he's going to be the starter. And then us just discussing what that means after that.
Yeah.
And guys, I don't want to put words in your mouth of like frustrating. But let me just imagine that is frustrating to you. You can times it by 10 for me because like you just said, I'm literally telling you what I'm seeing and I'm telling you the results of what I'm seeing. I'm not telling you a biased opinion. I'm not telling you what I think should be. I'm answering the question based on what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is Charlie Offerdahl is still running with the ones, but I am also seeing Dallin and Micah get just as many carries as practice goes on. And I have no reason to believe that will not continue during the game.
The offensive line, Coach Lodeholt talked to the media briefly on Tuesday. He said he's experimenting with the combinations, obviously, but he feels really good with the 5 he has right now. Just your latest report on the offensive line and how they've all come together this far.
Yeah, he's got a good problem. He's not like trying to pick between 5 and 8 guys, and you got 4 of them that don't have enough talent. He's picking between 5 and 8 guys that really can play ball and really have a O lineman IQ and know how to get the job done. He's just trying to figure out which of those can play best together situationally. You had Khalil Benson sitting a couple practices, just dealing with a slight elbow pain. Nothing that's going to keep him, from playing this season, but something they didn't want to get worse. And that also allowed him, to do a little chess matching out there to see some plug and play and who mixes well together. But I think, as he said, man, he has his 5/6 guys in mind. And then you just got the next couple of days schematically as it relates to the install and who's going to be ready for the matchup against North Dakota State will be the ones that go out there first.
Oh man. A year ago, we were getting ready for TCU, and there was this like insane energy in the building. The us. I don't think I've ever felt a more powerful us against the world feeling than being around that team leading up to that game last year. I'm just curious how you would describe the difference between almost the like. I just felt like they were like chomping at the bit, like just ready to go, ready to prove everyone how wrong they were. How would you compare that kind of vibe with the vibe right now? Because I feel like there's probably even more people who are against them now, but they've also proved more at this level.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think the tenacity as it relates to something to prove, has gone away. I just think it's at a different level now. A year ago, you had a cadre of guys coming in from HBCUs with Coach Prime and Jackson State with a big chip on their shoulder, wanting to show that they could play at this level. This year you have guys who have come in here buying in because they got to witness the program from afar, and so there's a bigger team unity aspect this year. Not just segmented groups of people. They're truly unified, teammates. And hats off to Coach Prime for doing something as simple as no cell phones in the cafeteria. I cannot express to you guys out there in the audience what a big difference that made in team chemistry. Something so simple. So I think you have a more united front this season, and it's almost like Lil Wayne said, "Real G's, move in silence like lasagna." You don't have that outward bravado that you guys were seeing against TCU because this team knows what it's capable of, and they know that the only thing that's going to shut people up out there is winning, and that's not just winning week 1, week 2, or week 3. That's winning throughout the entire season, and they're just ready to get the season started so they can do that.
Yeah, I almost see it as like, this time last year they were working to prove everyone wrong, and now they're just working to prove themselves right type of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I've really gained, this offseason. It feels like this team is just so focused on the actual task at hand, on the people in that building, on what they can control. I don't think the outside noise has really breached into the locker room and caused much distraction at all this offseason.
Yeah, that's certainly not distraction. It's there. They're aware of what's being said. Coach Prime is aware of what's being said, and they can't wait to shut people up. But you're right, Jake. It does not impact what goes on in practice or in the install meetings or the position meetings. If anything, it's lighting more of a fire. Like, okay, keep talking so we can really shut this stuff up.
Yes.
Also, this is just randomly came to my mind thinking about just what you were saying, but anyone who says all of America is cheering for North Dakota State tells you a lot about what their view of what America is.
Yes, exactly.
just have to say that.
Yep.
Yeah, and what a hater are you that you think everybody feels your way, that your level of don't get me wrong, there are a big swath of people out there that just want Colorado to lose because of all the attention we get. But I will tell you guys that as I travel the country or get viewership around the country, the love is way greater than the hate. There are more people from different sectors of life pulling for us than are against us. But you just have these people out there who are a vocal minority who just all they do is live for to comment on stuff and spew their hatred. And they believe that they're an army out there. Like no one is sitting around, oh my God, I can't wait for North Dakota State to beat these guys so my life will be better. That's just loser talk.
Big time.
Yeah.
2 things I want to hit before break.
Sure.
well, I guess it's one thing that's wrapped into two. A bunch of people in the chat said, why do we care so much about who the starter is? It's just good conversation. I mean,
Right.
eventually the season's going to start where we get to talk about football. Right now, we just get to speculate about things like who's going to be the starter. Same is true of why do we have to choose one of Ed Reed or Ray Lewis? We don't actually. It's just a good conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah, perfectly said. Let's hit a break, though. Shout out our friends over at Circle K. Circle K, once again, I'm here pleading for your help. There's a location across the street. It's got gas pumps and everything. Please help us out.
Do you think they hear us when we say this every day?
I hope that at least sales hears this and then sends these to Circle K.
It's true.
But we would love to have a Circle K nearby. We are devoid of some gas stations and snack stops. But Circle K is awesome. You can sign up for their Inner Circle program. You can get 20 cents off your first 5 fill-ups when you sign up. Your first 5 Polar Pops are free, and every 5th item free on tons of items, snacks, beverages, all kinds of stuff. Visit circlek.com/inner-circle for more info on how to become an Inner Circle member, or you can go to the link in the description.
Also, shout out to Toyota. My friends, first of all, I like that my friends watch this show. But my friends were giving me shit the other day. They just kept going, man, I love my Toyota.
You do say that a lot.
So I'm changing it up today. Have you seen that new RAV4?
I have not yet.
You haven't?
I don't think so.
You should
I'm going to
Google
look it up right now.
That thing is so sick. Yesterday I talked about the power of manifestation.
Right.
I'd like to manifest like a Lamb truck. But right now I just feel like I'm trying to set, realistic goals. So right now I'm just trying to manifest the new 4Runner for me.
This thing is slick.
I know, right?
Very
And
slick.
I just imagine that if I were to have that new 4Runner, you know what I would say? Man, I love my Toyota. So anyways, visit a Front Range location near you to get a Toyota if you're in the market for a new 4Runner or a RAV4 like me, which I do love. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Let's go. Before we get into our boldest predictions for the season, just something on the last topic we were talking about, and I think Coach Prime says it a lot. The hate is always going to be louder than the love, especially folks in this type of position, like Coach Prime, like this program, like these players. So I do believe, of course, what you were saying, Neely, where you walk around, you see love everywhere. Like you walk around Boulder, it's everywhere. I mean, Twitter might be, a little bit hectic at times, but this team is truly loved, and there's a lot of people rooting for this team.
Amen.
All right, on to our boldest.
I love that just as much as I love Arcade's Toyota. That's spot on.
It's never let any of us down.
It has
not just me.
Nope. All right, on to our boldest predictions. Who wants to start?
Okay, so
we have a system.
Unfortunately, we couldn't fax these to you, Unk, but we have 2 ratings here. Cold or hot. So when someone drops their bold prediction, we're rating them over here. For example, if you were to say I just can't pick between Ed Reed or Ray Lewis, they're so different. I'm just throwing up the ice right over here.
Yeah, I get you.
So
who wants to go first?
I'll go last.
Okay. I'll go first, and this is a little bit broader, but I think that my prediction is the Big 12 solidifies itself as the 3rd best conference in America this year.
Cold.
Wow.
Cold, not bold.
Fine.
I think it already is.
Really?
Yeah.
With Clemson and FSU in the other conference, I think ASU is ACC is penciled in as the 3rd best conference right now.
I mean, I understand that FSU, obviously coming off of an almost undefeated season, they could have been in the playoff if it wasn't for the injury to Jordan Travis. But from a top to bottom, strength of conference standpoint, I really think the Big 12 is already there. If they're not, I think it's close. So thus, I'm going cold take on you.
Damn. All right, I'll go back to the workshop.
Jake, I'm going to give you my bold prediction, but first I'm going to help support yours because I love words. And I support yours because you said solidify. you said they solidify themselves, as that third big conference. And I think what has happened over the years as the ACC is about to fall apart, we are rising up, but I think we're going to rise up in the Big 12 more so because of our own performance this year. Much like when the Pac-12 was going away, and it was one of the best years ever as far as multiple teams being ranked, throughout the season. I think the Big 12 is poised to show the nation that it's a conference of football. So I'm going to support you in that, Jake. If I had the fire symbol, I would give you a hot take.
My gosh.
It was a good take. It's just not
It
a
just
bold
wasn't
take.
hot enough for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
All right,
Well,
what do you got?
my hot take would be specific to the Colorado Buffaloes, and it is simply this: that by the end of the regular season, we will have a running back with over 1,000 yards, and not only will that happen, it will be Dallin Hayden.
With the name,
Wow.
How many of these do we have? Pull them all out.
Yeah, I think we're out. Bold and interesting dichotomy there between what you said to us earlier, which is that you still believe Charlie to be the starter, yet you believe by the end of the season, and obviously Dallin will be getting the lion's share and doing enough with it to get to 1,000 yards. That's a fire take.
I just, I'm an old umpire. I got to call it like I see him. And what I'm seeing in practice is some explosiveness. I love what he even does with his hands out of the backfield. And I think as the weeks go on, that he will emerge more and more, getting the lion's share of the carries. But I also wouldn't sleep on Mike as well. True freshman coming in and is really capable. But the first part of my pick is going to be true no matter what. We're going to get a back that's going to get over 1,000 yards.
All right.
You're up.
My turn. I couldn't decide if I want to like package all of these together into one, but I feel like that would be like hoarding takes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna stick with the one that I feel is bold, but also I'm the most confident in. Shedeur Sanders throws for over 40 touchdowns this season.
I don't know. That's close, man.
I love it. I do love it, and I agree with it, but it's kind of cold because there's not a lot of risk to it.
Not a lot of what?
Risk to it. I think it's going to happen.
All right. I mean, I was thinking percentage-wise. Well, like, it's essentially 33% more touchdowns than last year, which I feel like is a bold enough take.
Did miss a game and a half.
True. So maybe like on that average, you would have got to like 33, and then 40 wouldn't have been that bold. All right, maybe you guys are right. That's not bold enough.
Okay.
40 touchdowns. What led college football last year?
I don't have that right now. I can look it up. I do have a Shedeur Sanders. My next take is Shedeur Sanders related.
Okay.
Though. So he holds the single game school record for Colorado for passing yards in a game with that TCU performance, 510.
Mm-hmm.
The top 10 is all 400 yards plus. I say Shedeur has 4 of those games, 4 400-yard plus games, and owns half of the top best passing games in CU passing history.
Damn. Okay, so that's it. That's fire. I'm giving you a
Thank you.
fire emoji. I think it's going to be hard to throw for that many yards if they sustain the run. If you think back to that TCU game, how many yards did he have in that game?
510.
Holy shit. Yeah. That honestly feels like it was a dream. And how many other games did he throw for 400?
That's it. So the 10th on the list is Coy Detmer, and then Shedeur doesn't appear anywhere except for one.
Okay. Yeah, so throwing for 400 yards requires a lot of balls in the air.
Yep.
Surprised you're the one that reacted before.
Penix led the nation with 4,903 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then touchdowns I'm getting to.
Touchdowns was Bo Nix with 45.
So, I mean, over 40, I said. That means he's right in there for probably leading the nation in touchdown passes.
Okay. I begrudgingly give you a fire emoji for it then.
If I could go back, I would have just said leads the nation in touchdown passes.
Okay.
That would be fire. Yep.
You have another one up?
Yeah, I do, and it was also Shedeur related, and it was in my head, before we went down that rabbit hole of Shedeur facts and figures. Because you're exactly right, Jake. Penix threw for 4,900 last year, and I know RK that this can be hard to do with a running game that has over 1,000. Which again, 1,000 is not going to lead the nation in rushing. It's just going to be big time for us. I'm putting Shedeur at 5,000 plus yards on the season, along with that 1,000-yard runner.
Well, yeah, that is. Last year was what, 3,200?
Shoot, you might have said Colorado has the best offense in the country, like full stop.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yep.
Well, before the haters start chiming in, let me get ahead of it, and y'all can clip it and send this to Feinbaum. When you look at what Shedeur did last year with minimal to no protection, when you look at what he was able to accomplish in totality of a season with that limited no protection, you look at without having a complementary run game to sustain drives and that kind of thing, where we just had to be one dimensional at times. I just really believe that with the talent in this wide receiver room, which in my mind, if not the best, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the nation, giving Shedeur that time week after week, spreading the ball around, the yards after catch go to the quarterback, y'all. Like this, you can throw an 8-yard pass to Jimmy Horn that he runs for 62. Like this, when you start calculating this up over season, with Shedeur being upright, with him not having to miss games because he got injured, I think the math is there. You know, Penix, God bless him, through 4,900. I think Shedeur can get over that.
And this is great. Penix threw for 4,900 with a 1,000-yard back.
Yes. They absolutely did.
So it's all adding up.
I think it's complimentary. A lot of people say, no way you can throw that much and still have a running game. I just disagree. I think the math is there.
I love it. All right. We're going boldest. I got to turn it up a little bit.
Yep.
I didn't get a immediate fire emoji, and I'm disappointed in myself for that. So I'm going deep into the well here.
Okay.
Colorado has 2 Heisman finalists.
Did you steal this from me?
How would I steal it from you?
Because I had this written down in the rundown earlier.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the rundown, if I'm being completely honest.
No, it was absolutely my third one too. Like I'm on board with that. Put my fire up. Like I love it.
Yeah,
Big time.
And one of them will win it.
Okay. I like it. I want to build off of that because I assume you mean Shedeur and Travis, if 2.
Yes, I mean I was leaving the door open for a dark horse to enter the chat, but yes, most likely those two.
With that dark horse too, I will say a Colorado wide receiver will not only set the single season receiving yards record, they will win the Biletnikoff.
Ooh. Fire.
Best wide
Absolute
receiver
fire.
in the country.
So, if you had to pick, who are you picking?
Travis Hunter.
Man, if any of this stuff happens, we're going to have so much fun.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
You have one more?
I love that when guys starting with you, RK, you took mine. My third one was going to be 2 guys will be sitting there front row at the Downtown Athletic Club in New York. I love what you added on, Jake, but I'm going to twist it a little different. I think that with Travis being Travis, I'm gonna go not Travis and go Wester for the leading receiver.
And just because we're talking, with you and we haven't talked to you in a while, can you just speak on LeJounte's camp and how he's looked?
Phenomenal. As advertised, you remember when the quote unquote hype surrounding Zay Weaver coming in here last year and how he lived up to it. It's the same thing with Wester, man. Lived up to it and exceeding it. I think the chemistry that he's built with Shedeur is off the charts. It's probably in week 6 form, and we have yet to play a game. And Shedeur is already able to move the ball around to the best matchup in the speed and hit a guy, in stride so he can keep going with it. And I just think that with some of the attention that's going to be on Travis, not to mention with him playing both sides of the ball and not taking anything away from him, I think that just allows for someone else, to emerge statistically over the long haul of a season And if I had to pick one for that, it would be Wester.
Hell yeah.
Love it. I
Anything
think
else?
it's actually Unk's turn, or is it mine?
Either of you two. I've given out 3.
Or was LeJonte for Biletnikoff, was that yours?
No, that was Jake's, and I was just saying that was a good one.
So then I think it's
You,
yours.
you actually mentioned my third one. My third one was 2 guys being there, so I will go with another bold prediction, which I don't know, man. This might not be too bold because the graphic that was out there, but I will go with this prediction that the Colorado Buffaloes will have more participants at the Senior Bowl than any other school.
It's fire, bro.
That is very good.
That
And
is
also
fire.
I like the just creativity it took to get there. Okay.
That's a great one, Uncle.
Now, I feel like I'm gonna get iced for this one, so let me just make sure that you guys have some background before I say it. Last year, the leading receiver in terms of touchdowns had 6. Okay,
For Colorado.
For Colorado, yes.
Yes.
Had 6.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind when I say Will Shepherd will have 12 or more receiving touchdowns this season.
No, that's fair.
All right.
No, because I think, what did Travis have? He was right at round 6. I think he had 5, I think.
Travis had 5, yep. And so did Mikey Harrison.
Yeah, and then so I expect Jimmy to have probably around the same, probably 6-ish. I expect Travis's to go up. I expect DeJounte to have 5+. For Will to have 12 is pretty spicy, yes.
Yep. We got to get to 40 somehow.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Absolutely. I love your reverse engineering, RK, to support your initial point, because you got to get to 40 somehow, and having one guy above 10 sure goes a long way in helping you. And I think you picked the right guy. When I talk about Wester, I'm not backing off that. I just think yards after the catch are going to mean something when you're hitting him, and no one can catch him from behind just as much as like a Jimmy Horn Jr. When I think you're trying to throw to the back of the end zone, back pylon, or you're doing a short pass, and you're in the red zone, the body that and the hands that Will Shepherd bring to the table, I think you're going to get to that double-digit touchdown with him. Even if the yardage is less than the other receivers, the touchdown nod would go to him.
Yep. Actually, in my in my other college football dynasty, I'm playing as Rice, and we're still in season 1. But for a long time, Will Shepherd was in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah,
because he only has like 775 receiving yards, but he has like 18 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, man. I don't think people have seen enough of him, coming over from the SEC and just really value, his size. This is a big Terrell Owens type receiver, man. Hands, can route running. If you put up 50-50 ball up there, I'm going with Will Shepherd just about every time.
Just watching the two work together, it feels like they've already found the back shoulder magic. And I just think back to like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Like that combination on a back shoulder throw was impossible to defend.
Yep.
And
Jordan
it was
Nelson, it was down too.
Yeah, 4th and 8, like doesn't matter. Like they're just going to that, and there's really no way to defend it if you're the corner, because if you try to sit on that, then you're just gonna get beat over the top.
Yep.
So the way that Shedeur is throwing that to him and the times that we've got to see is it feels like they're already really dialed on that specific route, and that's gonna rack up touchdowns.
To me, Will Shepherd is like if you took the best traits from Javon Antonio and Zay Weaver and put them together.
I really love that.
That is like taking a Ralphie and then letting it age.
Just getting better every day.
Better. It was already good. Like you really didn't have to mess with it. But the longer you let it sit and don't touch it, damage only gets better.
All right.
We got to take a break here.
I'll say this: the chat out-bolded us. So all of the bold predictions in the chat, we can't keep up with those.
Well done, guys.
That's awesome. Natty's in there.
And if you're watching after we're live, drop your bold predictions in the comments. We'll check them out. But shout out to our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. Come hang out at the DNVR bar with us tomorrow. We are having a massive ticket giveaway. You have to RSVP on the site.
Yep.
But enjoy some Breck brews with us. They got a new one out right now for this football season. It is called the Ridge Runner. It's a double dry hop brew inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails and creates notes of bright citrus and pine. You can get that here. You can get that almost anywhere they sell beer, too. If you check out the Breckenridge Brewery beer locator at breckbrew.com, you can find a brew near you. But go to ddnvr.com/events, RSVP for tomorrow for a chance to win some tickets for the NDSU game.
Jake, earlier in the chat, someone said, I think Florida State loses tomorrow. And my heart skipped a beat because I was like, oh my God.
Tomorrow.
We actually get college football tomorrow. Like tomorrow. Now, we do have a press conference to go to, which happens to perfectly overlap with the game, but we'll find a way to tune in.
Yep.
And football season is great for so many things, but it might be the single best thing for sports betting.
Of course.
Football season is gambling season, and get over to Circa Sportsbook where you can get the best odds, especially if you want to bet on things like Colorado to win the Big 12 or, long season full props. You're always going to get the best odds over at Circa Sports. And the reason is because they handcraft their lines and they're built to entice you more so than all the other places who use their leeway to create promotions and free bets and stuff like that. That's not really the way Circa Sports rolls. But if you want to gamble a lot, you want to do it over at Circa Sportsbook, because over time, you're going to make more money off of your wins when you play over at Circa Sportsbook. So go to circasports.com, download the Circa Sports app. Bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older, all rights reserved. Circa Sportsbook encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Wrapping up this Friday edition.
Really quick. Does anyone want to make a bold take, a bold prediction about the defense? All of our takes were offensive. Not offensive, but offensive.
I'll throw one out.
Okay. I'll give you one bold, and it's not bold. It's pretty generic. But it means a lot should this happen, and I believe it will happen, that this season we're not going to have a safety leading the team in tackles, that it will be a D lineman or a linebacker, because we're playing so much better ball at the line of scrimmage and at that next level that we're not hats off to Shiloh and Cameron Silman Craig and all the safeties back there doing the thing. But I think the days of Colorado having a safety leading the team in tackling are over.
I'm laughing at the comments. He's said, bold prediction, we get Mr. Krabs RK twice this year.
Just twice?
Give me the over on that. Give me the over.
I'm trying to rein myself in for these post-game shows.
I'll say that Colorado has a player who has 10.5 or more sacks this season.
Love it.
Okay.
I think it's the most since 2016.
Yep.
So, and that was Jimmy Gilbert.
Yeah, Jimmy Gilbert was sick. All right. This one isn't necessarily quantifiable, but we can revisit it at the end of this season. Maybe we'll be able to revisit it halfway through the season. But before this season is over, Trevor Woods becomes a fan favorite for all of Buff Nation.
I love that one.
He was a very polarizing figure last year and all the way up until now. By the end of this season, no longer polarizing, beloved by all.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
Becomes like a legacy buff or something like that. I don't know what the word is, but like almost like Hall of Fame-ish type player.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard to unseat some of the names that are gonna be up there for the Buffalo Heart Award, because Shedeur Sanders, I guess not. Travis could be up for it. Yeah, Shiloh, a lot of big names.
Yeah,
but in a different year, I think I think there'll at least be a conversation for us at the end of the year. Should he be, involved in that conversation?
I like that.
I love it.
All right. We've got just a few things to touch on here before we get to questions. Get your questions in the chat now, and we will answer them shortly. What's up, Jacob? He says Mark Vassett wins the Ray Guy Award.
Oh, special teams takes.
I love that, J Poe. Shout out to J Poe. That's a hell of a take right there. I'm going to give that a fire emoji. But also, I've been glancing at the chat, and you talking about the yards that Ralphie gets or that she doesn't get have been hilarious. So, uh,
Oh,
my man J Poe from Jackson State to Colorado. Much love, miss you, brother.
we'll see him in Lubbock.
Yep.
Um,
Do you have a Ralphie update?
no, and that's actually crazy. I think no news is good news on this front.
But how would we have known too? Because like spring game was the only shot. Of course, that didn't happen again. So
You want me to text my sources, my Ralphie sources, and see if there's a Ralphie update out there?
I'm sure you have a Ralphie source, and I think we'd all love to hear.
All right, I'll text them.
All right.
And then the other thing is like the other thing that I feel like has been shockingly quiet, and I think it's just because there's a hit piece coming left and right and all of this stuff. But like the uniform talk, 5 years ago, if we knew they were revealing new uniforms, we would have been talking about it probably every day on the show.
Right.
But it's been quite. Do you have any idea if we're gonna get a uniform reveal before the season, or is it gonna be like last year where they just roll out in a new uniform each week?
I think there's going to be a rollout like last year, but I also think that maybe this Saturday you guys are kind of walking around the building after the press conference, and you might look in a box or a room you shouldn't be looking in, and you might see something.
Been known to do that.
Bold predictions.
Just a handful of notes to touch on. We talked yesterday about Xavier Weaver's chance to make the Arizona Cardinals roster and how he's been impressing so far. We've talked a lot about him last week, actually. But big news coming out of the Cardinals camp today. Wide receiver Zay Jones, who just signed a one-year deal with the Cardinals back in May, has been suspended 5 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Of course, another wide receiver. That just gives Zay an even more inside track to make this roster now after he's already balled out in camp. So,
yeah, absolutely. Did not need that. His performance has been enough. But when you get into the numbers, when someone's going to be removed anywhere from 2 to 5 games, you got to hold on to somebody, from that extended roster. And why wouldn't it be Zay Weaver with all the yards he's been getting in various situations at that?
One Zay in with another.
Yep. I said his Zay Jones loss is Zay Weaver's gain.
Nice.
Poetic.
CSU put up a post yesterday. If you were looking for tickets to the game against the Rams on September 14th, you can go to the Colorado State Rams Twitter account, or I retweeted as well, and they tweeted out the prices and where they will be selling some more tickets for that game. They go on sale Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm pretty sure it's all standing room tickets, but there is South Concourse, North Plaza tickets. So if you're still looking for them, there's your shot for that. Paint this thing black and gold, man.
Awesome. Yeah, there's like some weird confidence coming from Fort Collins that they're going to somehow like drown out the black and gold. I was looking on Game Time, a great app where you could use the code BUFFS to get $20 off your first purchase.
Yes.
And I mean, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of tickets available on there. They're really expensive, but that's how this always works. You pay a premium being the the away fans.
Mm-hmm.
And we got so much shit for it with Nebraska, not this last time, but the time before. But it was like, these people were selling their tickets to Nebraska fans for the price of their entire season ticket package.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. I don't approve that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of one of those things where I think people have a number and everyone has a number, right? They put a number in their head and they're like, all right, I'll throw them up there for $1,000.
Right.
And if someone bites, that's my gain. Well, if you think CSU fans are like above that, they're not.
No.
You can get in right now on Game Time for $250. It's not a good deal, but it's a better deal than you're going to get anywhere else. But you're paying a premium to go. But Buffs fans are going to do that.
Yep. Whether it's Game Time or these standing room only tickets, I'm serious. We need to paint this thing black and gold.
Yeah.
We need to take over the stadium. Last thing I've got one more thing after this. But changes to the transfer portal could be coming sooner rather than later. We've mentioned this earlier in the offseason, and it's that On3 I know put out a graphic for it, but they confirmed transfer portal dates for December to January. It's like 30 days again, and then a 15-day window in the spring. But now it seems like the NCAA Football Oversight Committee is going to be making a decision this week whether or not to get rid of the 15-day portal window in April. So if that passes, we would only have a 30-day window after the season that would run from December 9th to January 7th, eliminating the April 16th to April 30th window.
I hate this.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Unk?
I'm mixed on it. I will lead with this. Whatever rules that change need to be as advantageous as possible to the student athlete. And my first blush at anything changing dates is I think young people need more time to make lifelong decisions than they do need less time. So it's not about the coaches, it's not about the institutions. All this should be in favor of what's in the best interest of the student athlete and the decision that they're making.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you on more time. Both last year and this year, we had a player come in the winter portal and then leave in the spring portal. That was Zico and the other Shimon Mater.
Yep. I mean, Marshawn Nealon's a guy too, committed in that first portal window and just didn't show up.
Yeah, he never showed up. It's kind of different.
But yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I feel like there needs to be like, I don't know. It's so hard. I don't know if it would have been like, so when you think about the tight end position specifically, like, would it have been a good thing for those guys to not be able to leave? I don't think so necessarily. Like, if guys don't want to be there, you kind of want them to go. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think I get why they had the two portal windows, but I do think there just needs to be one period for it, just to kind of control some of the chaos, I think. There's been record number portal entries, and the players should be able to move around and do what they desire. It's just things have gotten a lot out of control the last 4 or 5 years, and I think reining some stuff back in isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer that? Well, save that, star that for later. Okay.
Do we do the post thing?
Sure.
The Denver Post put out an article today, Unk, about a certain reporter who has been told he's no longer allowed to ask questions to the football team, to Coach Prime. Your read on this, Unk. What is the program saying about this?
Well, at this point, it's becoming kind of old news because it's been, even if it hasn't been weeks on the calendar, it's been multiple press conferences where we've seen that questions from this reporter are not going to be taken. At this point, my biggest takeaway from it is hats off to athletic director Rick George and him standing with and backing up Coach Prime on this. I don't know why out there in the public you think because of someone's job or because of the amount of money they make that someone else should be able to treat them ill and continue to do it without any recompense going their way. And Coach Prime has made it clear that guy has a personal agenda, has a personal vendetta. I tried to work with him. I treated him cordial, first year being here, and it won't stop. So I'm going to stop taking questions from him. I do know that Coach Prime and Rick George met and had a nice conversation about this and emerged from that conversation with the school and the athletic department firmly standing behind Coach Prime, and that you don't have to take questions from somebody that you do not want to take from. And when you look at things like the Freedom of Information Act, the Denver Post isn't being blocked out of anything. They have other reporters there. If you are reported to press conference, you guys know that you're attending those. Everybody doesn't ask a question, but everybody gets the same answer. So you're not being blocked from access. You're not being blocked from information. You're just being blocked from, because you don't know how to talk to people and thereby write your editorials about people, I'm not talking to you. So I fully support Coach Prime and his right as an individual to not want to entertain BS. And I'm also just fully behind athletic director Rick George and him standing behind Coach Prime in this. Because there's a lot of schools out there, would acquiesce and say, oh, Coach, you got to do it. But here's a situation where after presented with what's been going on, Rick George said, "Hey, man, I'm with you."
Love it. You absolutely nailed it. I don't think I necessarily even have anything to add other than I hadn't heard what you just said about Rick and Coach having a conversation, but I appreciate Rick for having Coach's back on that. What I will say is that I saw multiple people say like the local media should boycott covering Colorado. And it's just like, man, how little do you know?
It's crazy.
Because they would never do that because guess who brings in all the clicks?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who brings in the revenue? Guess who brings in the views? Colorado over everyone else. So actually, please, if the rest of the local media wants to boycott Colorado, advantage us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I would love for that to happen, because one thing that, Coach Prime, in his words to me, that he did share with Rick George, and I have no reason to believe that Coach Prime would tell me something he didn't tell Rick George, said, "Hey, man, you got to understand, we have internal media sources. We have allies externally. We don't need that guy. Like, we're not losing anything by not dealing with him. This isn't a situation where we got to hold our nose and just put up with something. We have other means of getting our narrative out and getting our good stories told and even sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it doesn't require that. This isn't, 1950, 1970s where, you just run to the paper as your single sole source provider of news. You're getting news daily out of the program more than you get from any other program in the nation. So nothing is lost in doing this. But if everyone wanted to follow the boycott, which they will not, because you're spot on, RK. They're not going to do that. If they did do it, hey, shout out to the pregame show and DNVR and reach to people and well off. We love it.
No doubt. Only thing I'll add is, if you're going to be in that position, a journalist / reporter, whatever you call this, whatever, and you want to write with that slant, like, I'm sorry, but when you're held accountable and responsible for your words, like, you kind of get what you deserve at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, your ability to ask questions is a privilege.
Yes, exactly. It's not a right.
And one thing I want to underscore with that, guys, to our audience out there, and shout out to the audience for being so engaging. This is a person who, when this first went down, they admitted I had this coming.
Yes, he said that.
It's true.
He said that.
It's true. I'm ready to move on to the next question because I have an exciting update.
Okay.
Ralphie, beloved Ralphie, has gained 150 pounds.
Wow.
So she had a growth spurt. We might be seeing a very different Ralphie this year.
Let's go, man.
Shout out to Mo Sims and the strength and conditioning staff.
Yeah.
Been working with Ralphie.
When I read that with such happiness in my voice, I was like, man, I wish I could gain 150 pounds and everyone would be happy about it.
You could try.
No, not going to try that.
All right. We got a lot of questions to get to. So here we go. Who's up first today? Yeah. All right, we're doing super chats first. Shout out to East Coast Kev, my guy. I'll be bold. My boldest predictions: Colorado 11-1 in a playoff run. I'm sticking to my new hashtag playoff Peggy. Salute. Appreciate
Let's go.
you, brother.
Love it.
Love that. Playoff Peggy.
He's got another one. My guy says, don't feel bad about loving Toyota. My first car is a Camry. I'm looking for an all-black Highlander right now.
Nice.
Hell yeah, East Coast Kev.
We rented a Highlander in Dallas. Thing's sweet.
Yeah?
Yep.
Toyota, they just don't miss.
Allie actually likes it so much that she was like maybe starting to get off the 4Runner train.
Wow.
I was like, I'm going to get a 4Runner.
Enjoy that fight.
Yeah.
DJ Flame to you.
We don't fight like that.
What's up, Coach RK, recruiting coordinator Jake, and the unk of Buffs Media, Neely. F them whack-ass Chiefs, go Buffs. Lastly, the amount of futures money I'm about to collect thanks to the Buffs is crazy. My guy, DJ Flame to you. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I could be living in a different lifestyle by the end of this season if things go a certain way.
Yep. And here we go. It's Adrian. Oh, sorry. Adrian, what's good? Everyone, how y'all feeling today? Bold predictions, Shiloh and Camel were combined for 12 INTs this season. Travis will have 1,800 receiving yards, and Jimmy Horn will have 20 touchdowns. Let's go.
All right. Are you sure these are predictions for me in CFB 25?
Right.
Yeah.
I love them though. That's bold. You get all the fire emojis for that.
And then Pizza Girl Lex says, "Will y'all still save me an Ollie Pop? I'll be back. We got you. Don't worry."
Can't wait to
we
That's
see
got
you,
you.
Alexis.
Shout out to Pizza Girl Lex. I don't know if I told you guys, but she is in New York City, man, working in Midtown Manhattan, doing her thing in graphic and video creation. And so that's why you hadn't seen her around this camp. She's in New York City.
That's awesome. Shout out to her.
Hell yeah.
Keep grinding.
Congrats.
Out here trucking and fitness says, "Is it true that one of the uniforms is patterned after Coach Prime's Nike Air DT Max? Any truth to that, Unk?"
It's so funny because I was on the golf course before the sun came up today,
Yeah.
and we were talking about that exact thing and how sick that would be if it actually happened.
That would be cool. Oh, Nicholas, do you think the tight ends will have a big impact this season? Bigger than last year, yes.
Absolutely. Bigger than last year. Well said.
Is Baby T.O. all good in an arm sling?
Yeah, we've got some guys nursing some little things here and there, but shout out to the training staff under AP and Lauren and all those guys and girls over there. Shout out to strength and conditioning with the conditioning program to getting guys back in when they're out. We have made it through camp, man, injury free, significant injury free. Like when you look at what's taking place in the NFL and around college football, for us to now be going less than 1 week to the game and we haven't lost a person. Tremendous shout out to the staff and the coaches who understand how to push, but not push too far.
Please, college football gods, one more week. One more week. And then after that, actually like 15.
Yeah.
Give us 3 months, football gods, please.
Yeah, please. That's honestly awesome news. By the way, speaking of Baby T.O., I don't think we talked about this in our scrimmage takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is massive.
And he can fly.
Yes. He looks different. He's really big.
Cam asks, Unk, are there certain things in meetings/practice that you, well off reach to people, consult on and agree not to post? Love the access you all provide, but do believe some things belong only to those in that space.
Yeah, great question. First, let me take a 30,000-foot chop at it. When you watch those 3 channels and we give you updates throughout the day, let's say we package them in 20-minute increments. You got 60 minutes, right, from the 3 channels. There's 23 other hours in the day that you did not see. And so whether that is, code from meetings, from cafeteria, you name it, from installation meetings, from walkthroughs, we show you everything that we can without giving away, some degree of competitive advantage. As far as our communication goes, we probably do less of that now than we've ever had to do because we're all on the same page. We've been doing this together, since Jackson State, and we understand football and also understand even conversations that need to remain in-house. I've been in position meetings in a player's phone rang, and I was videoing, and I didn't put out the conversation between that position coach and that player because it was in-house conversation. So everything that happens, you don't get seen, but we don't have to spend a lot of time discussing it. It's kind of just, wink at each other from across the room or that kind of thing. Then you also have to know that the 3 channels are independent of each other and also see things differently. So you see different things on the channels. Being 53 and a fat boy, I ain't running up and down the field, filming Will Shepherd break one, take it to the house. I'll just sit down with him after practice and get an interview. So you see different dynamics from it, but it takes very little, discussion on what not to show because Coach Prime over the years, over the seasons, we've learned that.
Yeah, and just on that point, Unk, I feel like you're even more judicious. Wow, about what plays and things like that you like to put on your channel. But even now, it feels like as we've gotten closer to the game and they've gotten more into game planning install, we're seeing less and less plays on any channel because everyone else is starting to look a little bit closer. You're doing more important stuff rather than just what you would normally be doing in fall camp. So as we get closer, it makes sense for it to crank down.
Great point, Arcade, and glad you noticed that because, again, it's all about competitive advantage. We would be crazy to think that the analysts, the coaches, the players from future opponents don't sit down and watch these channels. You damn right they watch it, and they're looking for any edge they can get, whether that is a psychological edge of knowing, someone's quote unquote sensitivities of, and I'm talking about that they don't eat shellfish. It could be something like that. You just never know what you're potentially giving away, and so we're very cautious of that. You're seeing more of this program than you see on, say, HBO Hard Knocks, but you're still not seeing anything that will put you in a position to win a play, to win a quarter, or to win a game.
Yep. Amen. I'll never forget. I think it was like week 1. JJ Watt had like 3 sacks or something, and he said that I want to say it was Jets Hard Knocks. He's like, yeah, I watched every Hard Knocks, and I just really started getting down the quarterback's cadence. It's like, damn, that's that level of like what Coach Prime was talking about.
Yep,
about watching the way the guy walks out of the huddle. Watching, how many times he like digs his foot in before all of that stuff. Coach and Ed Reed talking about just looking for every single little detail.
Yep.
I love that.
Last super chat before we get out of here today. Don Peasy says, "What's going on, fellas? I can't overstate how hyped I am for this season. The 3 CSU fans talking crazy, Cornhusker fans talking spicy. Buffs are just different this year. #SCO Buffs." Well said, Don Peasy. Appreciate you, man.
Those 3 fans, you got to give them credit. They are loud as hell.
They try their best.
They just yell and yell.
Oh, man. All right. Great to see you, man. We'll be up there tomorrow. I'm sure we'll film something, and we'll definitely talk to you then, man. And then Monday, I think, is the last day of media before post-game.
The game. I know. It's so crazy.
Hey, man, well, way to kick off this first Friday of the next 17 Fridays with y'all. So, we're back, man. We got pre-game shows, we got post-game shows, we got shit that happens in between. Can't wait.
It's going to be a hell of a season. Cannot wait. We will see you guys tomorrow around 1:30ish. We're coming straight back from Boulder after the press conference, so we'll be live shortly.
And come hang out here, watch the game. We're giving away 8 pairs of tickets.
Yes, come hang out, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.